Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Mejia, and I'm back with another quick thought. So check this out. I'm still reading through Mark chapter 2, and there's this story that made me think of, sometimes how we use the gifts that God gives us in the wrong way, or sometimes we judge people for how they experience these same gifts and lose sight of what the gift is actually about. Let me explain. So for example, worship is a gift. It's a means, the music is a gift for us from God to enjoy God, right? Prayer is a means given by God for us to enjoy God. The word of God, the physical word of God, the inerrant written word of God is a gift given from God to enjoy God. And so many times we can lose sight of what it's actually for, make it self-centered, and when it becomes self-centered, we end up focusing on everything other people are doing and all these different details, and we're not the only ones who suffer from that. The Pharisees judged Jesus' disciples for picking figs from a fig tree on the Sabbath. And then Jesus addresses it by telling them a story of how King David did the same thing, and it wasn't counted as unrighteousness. It wasn't a violation because of the need, because of the need that they had. And then he ends this section with something very powerful. He says three very important things. He says, the Sabbath was made for man. Man was not made for the Sabbath. The Son of Man is the Lord, even of the Sabbath. Very important things he's saying here. Now, what is the Sabbath? The Sabbath was a observance that God ordered, he commanded from the days of Moses, right? Remember, God created the earth, the world, the universe in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. And so he wanted them to be intentional about resting and remembering the Lord their God, right? It was a day that was meant for them to get refreshed and to enjoy God. And so what ended up happening is that remember, the Pharisees are still living under the Mosaic covenant, which, if I could simplify for you, they thought they lived with this mentality that said, if I obey God, I will be blessed, and if I disobey God, we will be cursed. Okay, so when they were observing laws, they didn't just observe laws, they started creating these little rules outside of it to avoid people from breaking it out of fear. You see what I'm saying? They didn't want to be cursed. And so the question of, okay, so the Sabbath is about rest, which means I can't work on those days. Does that mean that I can't work for wages, or that I can't even do housework? How many steps do I take before it's officially work, right? Like, all these questions started to be brought up. So they started bringing in these other rules that surrounded the laws to help people avoid from actually breaking the law. But in this particular case, the disciples weren't breaking the law. It was lawful even in the Sabbath to pick fig trees. It wasn't necessarily like harvesting. It was eating. They were just eating, right? And that was perfectly fine on the Sabbath. But the Pharisees had an issue with it. And then Jesus had to not just correct them, but to show them that they've kind of missed the point of the Sabbath. He says, listen, the Sabbath was made for man. What he's saying is the Sabbath was a gift from God for man. It was a gift to remind you to enjoy God, to enjoy your labor, to enjoy what God has given you, to enjoy God. It was a means to enjoy God, and it became something else to them. To them, out of fear, it became rules and duty, and it became something that they stopped even caring about the needs of others for the sake of keeping this law. And then the second thing he says is that man was not made for the Sabbath. We weren't just made for these traditions. We were made for the Lord. And so when he ends up saying that the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. What he's saying is that this is mine, and it's to be used how I choose to have you guys use it. Now, with the things that we mentioned at the beginning, worship, prayer, and reading the word, have those gifts stopped at the gift? Because the point of these gifts that God has given us is to enjoy God. If you enjoy music more than you actually enjoy the God the music is about, we're missing the mark. If you enjoy the theological information and the intellectual stimulation that comes from studying the Word of God more than the God the intellectual information is about, we're missing the point. Jesus is Lord even of these gifts. Jesus is Lord, and he is the one who tells us how we are to enjoy these things. So go ahead and enjoy these things, but enjoy the God who gave you these things. Enjoy him, because if not, you're falling short of the satisfaction that the Lord wants you to truly have in him. Listen, go ahead and read that. I want you to check it out. I want to see what you observe when you read Mark chapter 2. I'll list the link at the bottom here. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, go ahead and leave it in the comment sections. If you enjoyed this video, like and share. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Again, I just want you guys to enjoy God. Enjoy Him when you're in the Word. Enjoy Him when you're worshiping with music. Enjoy Him in your art, in your work. Enjoy God because He is the true rest. Jesus is the true Sabbath. He has done it all so that we can actually approach the throne of grace boldly, so that we can truly satisfy ourselves, to get the satisfaction that only God can actually provide through His Son. So it's your boy Mejia. Thanks so much for taking the time and watching this video. Again, like and share, and can't wait to post a video tomorrow. Peace.